Today, we're going to build an online bank with the C3 stack. C3 being Cursor, Claude, and Convex. And we're going to do it in less than 15 minutes. So let's get started. So the first thing we need to do is head on over to the Node.js quick start and follow the directions. We're going to create a new project. We're not going to call it my project though. We're making a bank here. This is serious stuff. Let's call it the bank LOL. And we're going to need to cd into the project, and then we'll npm init and we'll set up a basic project. Now that we've got a basic npm project here, we're going to install convex and .env as the directions tell us to do. And at this point, we should have a working convex project. We just need to spin up our actual dev deployment in our convex backend. Let's do that now. And as soon as this is all done deploying, convex function's ready. That means we're good. We've got a working convex deployment back there. Let's pop up Cursor and get it ready to do some editing here in a minute. All right, so over on our dashboard, let's actually start this project by just getting the data going first. We don't have any data yet in our deployment, so we'll create an accounts table. We're a bank, we're going to have accounts. So we'll just use the dashboard here to add a couple documents to the table. For some reason, I've kind of got Beetles on the mind here, so let's make a couple of accounts for a couple of Beetles. So the first one will be Ringo. Let's see, a balance maybe. And okay, we'll start with $0 for the Beetles here. I have a feeling the amounts might go up. We don't need all 4 Beetles, but maybe let's add Paul. So we've at least got 2 of them to do some banking transactions with. We hit save. We can see on the dashboard, there we go, 2 accounts, 1 for Paul, 1 for Ringo. Now let's actually just right now take advantage of Convex's schema generation. And if we click generate schema, it's going to give us a schema definition for the data we've entered, and we could just go into our convex folder and paste it into our schema.txt file, and then we'll get nice type completion and type safety for our tables. Okay, now we have a schema definition. Let's actually make our endpoints, our functions to manage our account. So inside of accounts.ts, maybe we can use Claude here to help set up some initial imports. Yeah, Claude has this fancy like do something for me thing. Yeah, let's see if it can just, if I tell it what are the imports I need for a convex mutation. Let's see how it does with that. Oh, okay. Yep, well that's the start. That's the most important part. So great, let's jump down. We're gonna Claude's getting a little overexcited, but we're going to make some mutations here to manage our accounts. Let's do a deposit mutation. Account ID amount, well, that's close. Let's call it holder, since that's what we're calling it in the database. Amount's fine. We need this V. Okay, yep, those are convex values for validating arguments to our deposit function. So it takes a holder and the amount. And then let's see, we want to grab the existing account. Oh, Claude actually generated a whole lookup for us, but it was not using indexes because we forgot to add an index to the table. So let's actually just add an index to holder, because we're going to have billions of accounts in this eventually. We're going to want this to be pretty high performance. All right. Back to our mutation. So, oh, we're automatically getting with index. Sweet. Okay, so we're going to look up the account by index for the given holder. It's going to give us our account document back. Claude wants us to do error handling here. What if the account doesn't exist? Let's just blow right past that. Let's just go right to adding the money to the account. Who cares about error handling? We can fix that later. Let's see. Suggestion is patch by adding the new amount to their existing balance. That sounds right. Update the database. TypeScript is unhappy because this could be null. Claude tried to warn us to handle the missing account, but we didn't do it. And And are we happy? It looks like we're happy. So that one's done. What other operations should we do here? So now that we have deposit, maybe we want to implement something a little bit more interesting involving multiple accounts. Let's do a transfer and take advantage of Convex's ACID compliant mutations. What would a transfer look like? How much can Cursor Claude help with that? So transfer is also a mutation. It wants a from and a to. Oh, I lost my autocomplete. Is it getting back? Yes, there it is. From and a to. Okay, that seems fine. Who are we transferring money from? Who are we transferring to? Let's grab the from account, the to account. It's using the index. Wow. It's even handling the accounts missing. Okay, well, since it solved that for us, let's just roll with it. And then it also, it checks if there's insufficient funds. So if the from account doesn't have enough money, then it throws an error. Wow, good job, Cursor. Okay, and then finally, we're going to want to move the money over. And did it generate the right code? It kind of looks like it did. Let's see. db.patch, subtracting it from one account and adding it to the other one inside of our mutation. That looks correct. Are we done? Looks like there's 2 errors down here. Oh, okay. We just need the convex error needs to be imported. Okay, I think we're done. Let's dive in and test these functions a little bit in the dashboard and make sure we did them right so that we know we've got basically the right backend logic here. So let's test out deposit first. What if we give $12 of our virtual bucks to Paul? Okay, yep, so Paul's balance went up. That seems to work. How about if we move over $5 from Paul, since he now has some funds, to Ringo, and 5 down 5, and then an error on the third one because we don't have enough money. We only have $2 left. That looks correct. Yay. All right. Now, Convex API is up and running. If you call this from Convex functions, Convex client inside your React app or something, everyone will be happy. But the whole world doesn't run on OpenAPI, or sorry, but the whole world doesn't run on Convex yet. So why don't we use Convex's new like OpenAPI binding generation stuff so that we can call this from any arbitrary HTTP client library. So how do we do that? Some docs here somewhere, OpenAPI, okay. Okay, we are using Convex helpers, which package has a lot of utilities in it. And so if we go over to our terminal, install that, and then it looks like the command we need to execute, where'd the window go? There it is Convex helpers OpenAPI spec. So if we generate that, we get a file. Awesome. All right, we just grabbed that file and we're putting it into SwaggerHub, which is pretty cool online OpenAPI browser that y'all should check out if you're ever interacting with OpenAPI systems. So let's pop up our dashboard here right next to this kind of API Explorer, and we can see that we've got our 2 methods over on the right, deposit and transfer. So let's test a deposit using the HTTP API and the OpenAPI definition. So if we say, let's say no, that's not enough, 40, we're going to give to Paul. All right, there we go. Paul's balance is going up. Seems good. What about transferring? Let's do that one too. So if we transfer, let's see, let's transfer some funds from Paul to Ringo, like $11. And if we click it a few times, yep, the OpenAPI spec is working. So at this point, we've got a working backend. We have a working virtual online bank, kind of, that you could deposit funds into. You could transfer funds between accounts. Cool. We also used the OpenAPI spec generator to generate a spec that can be ingested by any kind of OpenAPI compatible client library, so it can be called from anywhere. Great. However, we need to like productionize this. This is just hitting our dev instance right now. It looks like this is Precise Clownfish is the name for this instance. It's probably not something we're going to tell all of our billions of banking customers to use, is to hit that API. So let's make a production deployment, and then let's use Convex's custom domains feature in order to publish this to like a more respectable domain. less ridiculous than that. So here's the custom domains dashboard. You can see we've entered api.thebank.lol. So thebank.lol is going to be this reliable, trustworthy URL that will reassure our customers they're dealing with a serious bank, industrial grade. So Convex is telling us to go enter these records into our domain provider, and then the domain will be verified and we'll be able to start serving traffic. Magical crossfade through the power of editing. We just papered over the fact that DNS takes some number of minutes to propagate. So Convex is happy now with our domain. It's going to claim to route traffic to our API using api.thebank.lol. So let's try this out. So the first thing we need to do is we need to deploy our project in production using npx convex deploy. So it says, do we want to push our code to a production deployment? This is Giddy Finch 630, apparently. We did. The functions are deployed. Instead of going and typing in our massive billions of user data set, let's just export the records we have in our dev deployment, and let's just import those into this new prod deployment. And there we go. Oh, not billions, only two records. Okay, cool. So our accounts have been moved over into production. So now we need to switch our Convex dashboard over to our production deployment. And sure enough, we have our accounts still maintained there. That's great. Cool. Now, since we're routing traffic to api.lol, as long as let's just use curl to test this out this time. So let's make sure there's nothing special the SwaggerHub is doing. So we'll copy this curl command here, and all we really should have to do to it, maybe let's resize it next to our dashboard so that we can make sure that the full reactive sync is happening as we manipulate our accounts using curl. So the only thing we really need to do here is change our ridiculous convex.cloud provision URL to the custom domain we set up, which again, that time-honored company called thebank.lol, api.thebank.lol. Let's submit a deposit to Paul. It's up to 49. I mean, Paul made a lot of money, so let's keep it going. Yeah, there we go. Now it's a little more realistic. All right, so now that we tested a deposit, let's flip over to the transfer. Let's hide deposit here. And there's our transfer. Where's our curl code? There it is. Okay, let's grab this and get back to our command line. So this time we're going to move money from Paul to Ringo. The implication here being that Paul significantly helped enrich Ringo, which I think it's fair to say is pretty accurate. api.thebank.lol, and there we go. There you go, Paul. Kick some of that funds Ringo's way. Awesome. So what did we do here? Let's recap. So we built a simple eBank with a really trustworthy name like the Bank LOL, and we productionized it. We generated an API using OpenAPI spec generation script in Convex, and we've created this bank. It's really easy for people to deposit money and for people to transfer money. Just super simple, very, very easy. Should we add authentication?